that's my third one. Going on to Mark. What do you reckon, Mark? I reckon, it's going to be close.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and give my last two. Were you gonna do any honorables?
Yeah, so you can do your
I've
last
got a
two
couple
and
of
some
those.
honorables, mate. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and
good.
I'll stick around for the next few minutes anyway. Then I'll bail out when I have to. But this is another one Lee turned me on to. In fact, he said this will be your new favorite band. Spirit Adrift,
Oh yeah.
Ghost at the Gallows, absolutely amazing. And I had no idea until you mentioned it in your. This was your number one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically one guy. He's a one man band basically. Uh, he plays everything on the album, and then he got I guess, recruited some fellas to, be his touring band. But he plays. I think he might have a drummer on here. I think, but he plays all the guitars, all the bass, all the vocals, all the keyboard, wrote all the songs. I mean, just mental how talented this guy is. And this I can't really classify the music as any particular subgenre of metal. I don't really know how to. Got a little bit of doom to it, a little bit of Sabbath to it, but his voice, and I think I mentioned this in one of my comments that I left. Maybe not on all the songs, but he at least on a couple of them, he sounds a lot like Gene Simmons to me. Preacher's era Gene Simmons. Again, I don't know if that's his intention or if that's just his natural voice, but sounds like an aggressive, early '80s Gene Simmons. Just a really good album. Again, I'm gonna have to go back and buy the previous stuff now that I've heard this one. And then my last official pick, since Ralph took Anthem, this one I don't even own yet because I can't find it yet. The band is called Graven Sin. They're from Finland, and the album was released sometime back in October in the streaming format, and the CD was supposed to be released. I had it on pre-order through Amazon. It was supposed to be released around Thanksgiving here, late November. But the day it was supposed to be released, I got a notice that it was out of stock and they hadn't received them yet. The LP is available, but I don't listen to vinyl anymore, so I'm anxiously awaiting the CD to get released so I can get a copy of it. But the album's called Veil of the Gods. Again, kind of doomy, kind of in that sorcerer vibe. Really good singer, really heavy guitars. Got a '80s kind of Sabbath vibe to it. Really, really good stuff. And then I'll just throw out a couple of quick honorables. KK's Priest, Center Rides Again, a band called All My Shadows, Eerie Monsters, and then Iron Savior, Firestar.
Very cool. I tell you what makes me so happy to hear you talk about Spirit Adrift. I'm not the only one in this world that wants to talk about Spirit Adrift. So, I mean, man, they have got, not to put you off by any previous stuff, but that's one band that have just got better and better and better. And it's almost like that album is a perfect album, man.
Yeah, it's really strong.
Oh, I can't get enough of it. There's a little bit of Metallica in there, I would say.
Yeah. It's kind of a mix of a lot of influences that I like, so that makes the finished product is a good combination of different stuff there. Again, it's refreshing that there's some new, even though it's got clear influences from earlier stuff, it sounds fresh. It doesn't really sound like, I can't put my finger on it and say, well, other than the singer, like I said, having that Gene Simmons kind of growl to his voice, I can't really say any of the songs sound like any of these other bands, that they take influence from.
Yeah, that is one brilliant album. Absolutely, everything I wished it would be and more, to tell you the truth. So thank you for that, mate, and thanks for the others as well. Thank you very much. Stick around until you have to go, for sure.
Yeah, I'll bow out here in a minute and let you know.
Cool. Okay, we're down to Todd. What you got, mate? What's your number two?
Number two. All right. So 2 years ago in 2021, there was a band came out called Dirty Honey, and they were came out of nowhere. And I remember writing, on my Facebook, I put that was my number 3 album of the year that year. And I know they came out with a new, and this is not, I'm number 2 this year is not Dirty Honey, but I remember writing on my Facebook, this is my number 3, LA band came out of nowhere. They have this really great retro sound and so forth. And reason why I'm bringing that up is because my number 2 pick this year, I could have the exact same description, different band, same description. So this is was actually released fairly recently, September 15th. It's their debut. It's on Iridiot Records, self-produced. It's the Bites. I don't know if you've ever heard of these guys.
Yeah.
But they, like I said, it came out of nowhere. It's just fun music. It just, every song is a party song. It's just, I love it. It's great stuff. I made my poor wife listen to it, and it just it was really good stuff. Heather Leather. I mean, that's one of the songs. But who has a song called Heather Leather? They do. And I was hoping that the album was called Squeeze, and they have an actual song called Squeeze. I was hoping it was going to be a Y&T cover, but it's not. But it also is a faster rocking song in that same style, though.
Show us that cover again, mate. And it says Squeeze. I'm surprised they haven't got Squeeze on the actual shirt there, but that's sorry, Karen. Sorry, Karen. Yeah, but yeah, no, very cool. I mean, even the cover looks like it's something out of like 1981 or something, doesn't it?
Right, it does. Yeah, it looks like a Bon Jovi cover or something.
Yeah,
but
cool.
No, good stuff. I'm really, it sticks in your head. You listen to it and you're humming the songs after, So it's that's the kind of stuff I love, and I think this is I can't wait to hear more from these guys. Like I said, it just came out a couple months ago, and hopefully they tour. I don't know, and I don't know enough about them. It's self-produced. They wrote all their own stuff. It sounds great. It doesn't sound, it sounds a little on the raw side, but it doesn't sound it doesn't put you off of it, because it's raw. So and the singer doesn't have a real high acrobatic voice or anything, but it's a very clear voice, very well, very good tone, and good stuff. I enjoy it.
Man, you mentioned there as well about being self-produced and how good it sounds. I mean, man, I was doing some reactions today, which I haven't uploaded yet, and there's some on there that have been self-produced, and you don't have to, with technology the way it is, you don't have to get, a Mutt Lang in anymore. You don't have to do that anymore. Literally, you can make your album, if you've got a good ear, you can make your album sound so good.
Well, that's the problem, though, is not everybody has good ears. So sometimes you do your own producing and nobody's there to tell you, well, that sounds crappy or whatever. So
yeah.
Totally so right. And these guys did a nice job.
Very cool. Thanks for that, mate. Much appreciated. Ralph, what you got, mate?
Yeah, not doing that on purpose because I'm German, but my number 2, my number 1 are German bands. So I'll start with number 2, and that was already mentioned as honorable mention by Mark, and that's Iron Savior and Firestar. Man, what an album. Absolutely. It's probably the best of Iron Savior from the last 10 years, from the last decade, and they consistently bring out albums like every 2 years. But this one is really just really immense in my perspective. The guitaring was always great, straightforward, speed metal, classic stompers, and so on. But what always stood out by Iron Savior are the massive choruses. And even now, with I just found out that his Peter Silk's son-in-law and daughter are actually adding backing vocals as well, so that even makes the the chorus is even more balanced, and sometimes you hear that also. But there are a couple of songs there that really stand out for me. In the realm of heavy metal, you know, you did a reaction to that, Lee. Through the Fires of Hell, which actually sounded a little bit like Queen, which I think both recognize as well. And then there's a song called Mask, Cloak, and Sword, which is just really fantastic. And a couple more songs. And knowing that Pete Silk, who's the singer and main guitarist, is fighting cancer at this moment, and had that already during the production process of the album. It, you know, some of the vocals, some of the meaning of the vocal lines, you know, are better understandable when you know what he's, you know, mentally trying to cope with. So there are songs on there, heavy metal songs, but like a declaration of love to his wife, and things like that on there, and how she supports him and so on. So yeah, it's a bombastic album, I think. Iron Savior and Firestar, and so well produced. And it's one of those self-produced albums. They produce the albums themselves since they started, and I think it's their 12th or 13th album, and they're all consistently good, but this one really knocks it out of the park for me. So Iron Savior, Firestar is my number 2.
Another band that, man, there's riffs. You just, I mean, it's just tons of riffs on that, and the melody as well. But great choice, mate. Thank you very much.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and bow out, guys.
Mate,
fun.
See you, Mark.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas.
have a good
Have a great
Christmas.
Christmas. And you.
Have a great holiday season.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Metalmas.
Hopefully we can hook up after the first year and do something. So,
Definitely. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. See you soon.
take care.
Brilliant. Okay. Oh, look, it stayed where it was. That's good, isn't it? I was watching something the other day, guys, off the subject quickly. You can actually move the squares around. So next time I get confused, I can actually move them around. So yeah, I didn't know that, but they're technology. Yeah, you know,
Excellent.
that's me. Okay, Karen, you're number 2. What you got?
Right, my number 2, until literally about 2.5 weeks ago, I was adamant this was going to be my album of the year. Nothing could possibly beat it. It's by the British progressive metal band Tesseract. I spoke about in our best second album, as in second album's the best show that we did. I talked about this band, said their second album was the best yet. Well, it's not anymore, because this is their 5th album and it is an absolute masterpiece. I don't see how they're ever going to beat this one. It's a concept album. I knew it was going to be good, but every now and then an album comes along, doesn't it, that just moves you so much that you wake up in the mornings craving it and you just want to hear it again and play it over and over. And this is an absolute masterpiece, this album. It's a very technical metal album, but at no point do they don't sacrifice melody for being very technical. They don't sacrifice musicality. The musicianship is off the scale, and the vocals of Daniel Tompkins are absolutely amazing. He does everything from death metal growls to a falsetto and everything in between. I mean, he's a very established vocal coach as well. Very, very talented. The whole album is an absolutely epic musical journey. It's wonderful. It's tech metal, then it's some really quite tender kind of slower songs. It's a musical adventure, this album, and I did not stop playing this for about 6 weeks after it came out. I literally couldn't switch the thing off. Absolutely was really sure this was going to be my album of the year, but then it wasn't. So yeah, that's one of being my Tesseract.
Thanks, Karen. Where are they from, Tesseract?
They're British.
Oh, they are British.
Yes, yeah. I've never seen them live before, and I'm dragging Jam to see them in London in February, which I can't wait for.
Does he like them? Does Jam like
He doesn't mind them. He doesn't mind them. He's not really into them. I've never seen them before. I've seen Daniel Tompkins and his solo band before, but I've never seen Tesseract. So I'm really, really excited to see them. So yeah, fantastic album.
Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you. Okay, on to my number, well, my fourth choice, if you like, or my number two, whatever way you want to say it. So I'm going to see this band as well. They've just been announced. They're coming 15 minutes from me, which is very cool. At the end of next year, playing with Doomsday Outlaw, who I've already mentioned. So it's a double bill. It's Dead Man's Whiskey. I think you like a bit of this, Ralph. And the album's called In the Storm. This came out at the end of September 29th, exactly. This is their second album. Just a great hard rock band, melodic hard rock. Production is massive on this as well. Great production from a guy called Chris Clancy and Colin Richardson. They both do it together. Really anthemic rock and roll. Little bit of southern influence coming through there, I would say. I just think that there's been some great British music this year, and this is one of the best of them. A Single Masquerade is brilliant. Do or Die is excellent. The ballad Closer to You is just outstanding. And Ralph, I think, said to me, like, this album came out, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ralph, the same day as the Black Stone Cherry album, the new one.
Exactly. And we were like, ugh.
Yeah, I've been
Stone Cherry.
Yeah, I've been increasingly like disappointed with Black Stone Cherry. Like, you know, over the years, they've lost their like southern feel. They sound like a lot of other bands now, very sort of generic, sort of hard rock band, basically. This came out the same day and blew it out of the water. It's a great hard rock album. Their band's Whiskey in the Storm. There you go. That's my number two. Or my fourth, whatever. I don't know. These are not in order, remember. These are just release date order. But it's a great album, nonetheless. Okay. Down to Todd. Mate, I'm really excited to hear your number one. What you got?
Number one. Yeah, so this one kind of surprised me a little bit. I wasn't surprised I liked it, but maybe it was surprised a little bit that I liked it so much. This is a band I've never listened to before, but I was familiar with them. Well, I guess I should just say who it is, and I can tell you about it. So it was out in June 9th. It's the Defiance and Drive.
Oh yeah.
So you all know the story behind Defiance. It's 3/5 of at one point what was Danger, and I always liked Danger. I didn't really pay a lot of attention to them, but I had their first two albums. I really liked those, but for some reason I just never really paid attention or followed them after. And then now, of course, I'd like to go back and get all those things because the singer here is amazing. I love his voice, and though his voice wasn't on the first two, it was later albums. So but yeah, it's both guitarists and bassists, and this is another self-produced album. These guys produced their own album, and they have a really great knack for sound, man. This is a really great sounding album, and just the songs are so good. If you ever have a show where you pick the album with the best two songs, like right out of the gate on the album, this has got to be a candidate for that, because it comes right out with Hey Life is just knocks you out, and then Go Big or Go Home has got to be my favorite song on the album. It's just so catchy and memorable, and you just sing it. Like I said, like the other album I was talking about, you play that song and you just hum it all day, and it's a really melodic but really powerful beat to that song, and just gets in your bones. And so yeah, good stuff. I unfortunately I haven't. This is the first album I bought by them, and the Frontiers, of course, they only release albums for 6 months or so, and then they're out of print, and then you can't find them anymore, especially in the US. They probably are in Europe anywhere, but here you can't find them. So at least not at a decent price. So I gotta go back and get the first two, and then get those Danger albums that I'm missing too. So, but yeah, amazing stuff. I hope they continue on with this lineup as the Defiance, because this is really good stuff. I really enjoyed it.
Oh mate, I'm so glad you're talking about that album. I tell you, because it was in my top albums, but I didn't, you know, you don't get to talk about every album in depth, do you? Because obviously there's so many to talk about. But wow, I mean, I talk about my list, don't I? And I drop songs off of them for the playlist. Not one song has dropped off of that song for my all time. It is one outstanding album. I mean, my favorite song on there, just to talk about my favorite song, is probably, is it Nothing's Gonna Stop Me Now on that one?
Yeah, that's the last track. Yeah.
That is just that song, but they all are brilliant. I actually got Paul today on one of my videos. You know, I have to moan now and again about people. I just can't help it.
Yeah.
So I put out my favorite songs of the year, didn't I? And then someone said, like, how can you not have a Defiance on there? Well, the whole idea of my songs of the year was that I wasn't going to repeat the bands that were in my top albums, because I just wanted to talk about another 30 bands. So I corrected him. But I literally, that's one of them albums, mate, where I think they're all so outstanding, every song. I just think every song, you can't say anything bad about any of the songs. It literally could go up on my list of, you know, if I had to revisit my albums of 2023, which again, I think that's one album that could go all the way. Just
Right. Yeah.
Outstanding.
I talked about the first two songs, but you know, you got 19 Summertime as their hit, and that's the third song. So you could go, then that's a really good song. So yeah, there's good stuff on that.
And you're right, it's quite crunchy, it's quite heavy, but it's so melodic. All three albums are great, by the way. If you haven't heard them on YouTube or whatever, the first one in particular is really good, but that is actually my favorite album of theirs. They're all good, though. They're all really good. What a great choice. See, this is what I love. You're talking about albums I love as well, which is so cool. And Paul Lane, by the way, just to let you know, I haven't met him or anything, but he messages me because I send the reactions to him, and he's such a nice bloke as well. He's a really nice bloke. He's one of the most humble people. He's like, I can't believe how much you loved it and all that. You know, some rock stars are twats, aren't they? As we all know. You know, he is definitely not one of them. He seems such a nice guy. So yeah, great choice. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, Ralph, got a bit. I'm not going to try swapping screens around. Karen went for a second by the looks of it, but otherwise I'll just delete someone. You know what's going to happen, don't you? So we go straight to Ralph for your number one, mate.
For my number one, drum roll. Yeah, like I said, it's a German band, and you might not be surprised, Lee. It's Iridiot, and the album is Touchdown. Well,
more
Iridiot,
riffs. Ralph, more riffs. So many riffs.
yeah, it's just a riff attack, you can say. And yeah, I think I've chosen it for many reasons. One is that I'm just bowing my head in front of Udo Dirkschneider, who's the ex-singer of Accept. Of course, everybody knows that. But he's so consistently bringing out albums of high quality. And it's not just one of these albums with 8 or 9 songs. No, it's like minimally 14. And there's hardly a filler on it. You know, these are all well thought through and very nicely composed songs. But Touchdown, to me, really notched it up once more. And that has a couple of reasons. I think one of the reasons is that Peter Baltes is back in the band, who was with Accept as well. And he's not just a phenomenal bass player, he's also a great vocalist. And you hear that in some of the sort of like in the bylines and in the choruses and the bridges, where Peter Baltes' rough voice comes out as well. That makes these choruses even, you know, bigger and harder, more metal-esque, you can say. And then you have the two guitarists. They're both from Eastern Europe, and Udo always had a good hand on choosing guitarists from Eastern Europe. So Andy Smirnoff, and I forgot the name of the other guy, are just blowing it out of the park. You know, some of the riffs and you know, the little fills in between. It's like a metal attack, really it is. And then I really have to give a shout out to Udo Dirkschneider's son, Sven. The precision of the drumming on that album, to me, is absolutely unheard of so far. You know, if you just start the song Touchdown, and you listen to the first 30 seconds, you want to just go back to second number one, just how the drums start. It blows me away every time I hear these drum fills and that start of the drumming. Apart from the wonderful heavy metal riff that starts that song, but there are so many other songs, and I want to mention a couple. Isolation Man, which is the opener, is a fantastic metal banger. Better Start to Run is more sort of like straightforward, more of a stomper. Fight for the Right is very much around the Ukraine-Russian war. And so Udo also has political messages in his singing and in his vocal lines. So yeah, this album is just the best that he did, I would say, at least for a decade. And yeah, so I hear it all the time, and even YouTube tells me that the Udo videos that I watched were the #1 by far of this album. So I must be right by choosing that album to be my album of the year. And yeah, and with Udo's vocals, well, you either love it or you hate it. But I decided to love it since the Accept days. And yeah, there's this album is just fast as a shark. So from that perspective, it's my #1, UDO, Touchdown.
Thank you very much, mate. That's brilliant. That I've got to say again, the guitar work. That, I mean, if you take the Touchdown song alone, that is just mind blowing. That guitar part in that. But you're right, Udo, sorry, he literally hasn't changed his vocals. Whether you love them or hate them, they haven't changed a bit since the 80s, have they? They really haven't. And consistent, bringing out releases after release, and then to get the high performance that he gets after bringing out that many releases is just quite amazing, really. So yeah, we've all got to bow down to Udo for sure, mate. Thank you very much. We're going to do some honorable mentions in a minute, though. I've got to say that, but we're going to go to Karen.
Yeah, sorry, I disappeared a minute ago.
Now we're really curious, Karen. We're really curious.
Zoom seems to like randomly throwing me out of meetings at the moment. So yeah, wow. It gets to the end of the year, doesn't it? You start thinking about your albums of the year, and I've got my list straight in my head. Yes, I know what these are going to be. And then at the last minute, on the 1st of December, a dark horse comes along and absolutely trounced the whole thing. Excuse me. It's not a heavy album, this, but it is made by an indisputable rock legend, and that person is Peter Gabriel and his new album, I.O. This is, wow, it's his first studio album in 21 years. It is absolutely stunning. As you said, Todd, about your first favourite album, you expected you were going to like it, but you didn't really think you were going to love it as much as you do. Wow, it's just incredible. There's so many great songs on this album. Literally all the songs are brilliant. Lots and lots of layers, lots and lots of great detail, as you'd expect, full of hooks as well. It's uplifting, it's optimistic, and I would actually, the one word I would use to describe this album is inspirational. And in 17 days, I haven't hardly stopped listening to it. And I didn't know if I'd put it at #1, but actually 2 days ago, it kind of crystallized in my head. Yeah, this is my favorite album of the year. Beautiful, beautiful album. Peter Gabriel's I.O.
Wow. I didn't expect that, Karen.
I didn't either.
that is brilliant. I mean, look, never a fan of Peter Gabriel, but you know, to come, you got to look up to people after all them years. You know, I grew up obviously hearing Peter Gabriel all the time in the 80s, you know, and just amazing that he made it to #1. I'm quite impressed.
He's 75 years old now, and wow. You know, made I think it's the best of his solo albums that he's made. It's absolutely unbelievably good. Yeah,
very
love
cool.
it.
Thank you very much.
I've heard good things about it. I mean, everybody's raving about it, but and I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I know his hits and I like a lot of his hits, but I've never really gotten into his solo stuff very much. I mean, would you compare it? I mean, you're saying it's probably your favorite by him, but is it
Yes.
sound wise or style wise? What would you compare it
There's
to in his catalog?
maybe some tracks that sound a bit like the songs from So and Us as well, with those two albums probably.
Okay.
But oh, there's some beautiful songs on this, and there's some really uplifting, sort of more up tempo songs on it. It's just a great album. There's nothing on it that I don't like. Great album.
Well, if it beat all those other bands that you thought were going to be number one all year, well, yeah, of course.
It's a big surprise.
Well, thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you.
Great list, by the way, guys, from everyone. Outstanding. It's really nice to hear some stuff that I haven't heard, and also cool to hear some things that, you know, I probably don't get to talk about enough because my lists are getting bigger and bigger. I'm probably going to have like a top 100 soon of albums. It's just ridiculous, but it's nice to hear other people talk about those and love them so much as well. So we'll do some quick honourable mentions, if that's all right. Obviously, now that Mark's gone, it'll be Todd. What you got there, mate?
Did you have a number one? Did you?
Oh God, it's me.
Yeah.
That's how much. That's how much. Like Karen threw me with the Peter Gabriel stuff. Yeah, my number one is obviously the newest one that's been released. It's at the end of November. It's Hell's Addiction and 9 O'Clock Horses. They're from Leicester, this band in the UK. Obviously, it's their third album. And I've talked about production already and how an album sounds. This is the best one out of all my albums. Probably maybe the best of the year, the way it sounds. It's a huge sound on this album. And a guy called Matt Ellis produced it. This is melodic hard rock with a little bit of metal, I would say, if you're going to compare them. And it said this in the press, and I would sort of agree with this. A bit of Tesla in there, a bit of Skid Row, maybe, a bit like that. The opener, Leave It Alone, is just ridiculously good. Upside Down, which is actually the guys in the band or the singer, I think the songwriter loves Stranger Things, so it's about the Stranger Things universe, if you like. That's an excellent song. A really cool 80s inspired song called Scream Your Name, like this little melodic hard rock song out of the 80s. And Your Master Plan is one of the best ballads I've ever heard in my life. So there you go. Brilliant band called Hell's Addiction. This actually, sadly, the band were going to release this album like in, I think it was like September, and they sent the album to me like to listen to and review, which I did back then, and then it got delayed because they couldn't release the physical copies. You know, there's a lot going on with that these days. They can't release the physical copies. They're getting held up. And then they said, "What, we're going to leave the stream. We're going to like cut all of it until, you know, the physical copies are available." And then one morning they woke up and it was on all the streaming services. They like by accident. So it made it officially a release for this year, but only like not the physical copies, if you like. But Hell's Addiction, 9 O'Clock Horses, it is a absolutely mind-blowing album. It is brilliant. So you got to check that one out. Yeah, sorry about that. Thanks for Todd for correcting me there. I mean, I would have gone without saying my number one. I've been gutted. I would have been gutted, mate. So, okay. Honourable mentions. How many you got? How many you got, Todd?
Yeah, well,
70?
I've got
70?
several. Yeah, I got several, but I'm gonna I'll put them all in the comments to save you all some time. But I do want to talk about the top 10.
Yeah.
My top 10. So I'm just going to go number 6, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I love some electric blues, and he's an amazing guitarist, and he's actually a really good singer now. He sings some of his songs now. He still works with Noah Hunt, his longtime singer, but he only sings about half of the songs. And there is a really cool, the only thing I don't like about this is it's really short. There's only 8 songs on it. So maybe volume 2, this is volume 1, maybe volume 2 will have more, but anyway. but yeah, it's really short. Otherwise, I enjoyed that quite a
To
bit.
tell you the truth, if it had 16 songs on it, you'd probably say it's too long. So it's probably done a
Right.
good one there, isn't
Could be. Yeah, could be that he just he stuck with the ones that he really liked the most, and it paid off, because I think it's it's my number 6 of the year.
Cool.
Number 7, Danko Jones. I've always been a huge fan of them. They're very consistent. Not gonna you're not gonna change anybody's life, probably, these songs, but they're they rock hard, and I really enjoy. Again, production wise, they always have a great sound. I love Danko Jones. Number 8, Wigwam.
Oh yeah,
And this is a band I've never bought. I did have their one before that had the song from the Peacemaker on it. So I did have that, but this I really enjoyed this, and I'm gonna go back and get all those. And we got number 9 is actually 6. One band I actually did get to see this year. Amazing live if you get to see them. Nuno can still play, and Gary can still sing. There's a lot of variety on this. Really heavy. That Rise song is really heavy and good. And but there's some ballads. There's there's a fun party song called Beautiful Girls that you should be sitting sipping on Mai Tai and listening to it on the beach. It's a great stuff. They've always been kind of chameleons, and it still feels like they can release a great album. And my number 10 is The Answer, Sundowners. I've loved everything I've heard by them, and this was probably one of my favorite by them so far, if not the favorite. Great songs. I love that the band is intact. They've been around, the same band since when they started back in their early 2000s or whatever it was. Great stuff, and there was a huge gap in between this and the last one. Well, huge, several years anyway. And but 2016 was the last one, Solace. And but yeah, so it's great to hear them back again. They haven't missed a step, and I hope they continue. I hope they tour in the United States. They never do. So
they're British. Are they British?
Yeah, Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
lucky I didn't say English then, wasn't it? It'd be even worse for someone from Northern Ireland. But no, very cool. Thanks, mate. Much appreciated. And yeah, make sure you put your albums in the comments. I've been looking at your albums anyway, like I said, on Facebook and with Dom's. So very cool.
I'm gonna do that. I usually do the same thing that I only do like the last 10 days. I put my last 10 one a day. And so I'll start doing that. I'll once I get to the 22nd, I'll start doing that.
Very cool. I do like. I really am interested in when people put the comments below my videos and they put like songs or their favorite songs. I don't look at them. I love looking at them and thinking, what people's lists are. I love it. It's great. Okay, Ralph, what you got, mate?
Yeah, I'm not going to mention anything that others have mentioned, like Wigwam or Tigers of Pantang. So that reduces my list of honorable mentions to just 8. But I'm going to do it short, just mentioning what they are. First one is Arjen Lucanson's Supersonic Revolution and the Golden Age of Music. Arjen Lucanson was a guitarist at the Dutch band Vengeance, and they're actually just in the process of reformation. So we'll see what that is. But Golden Age of Music is sort of like a retrospective to the sort of like Deep Purple organ guitar sounds, and has some fantastic songs on it. They're all self-written, so nothing is a copy of anything from the past. I love that album. I love a good organ, like Sapphire. You can put them into the same sort of category if you want. Very good stuff. Next one is Bona Fide, and the album is called Are You Listening? Which is another one of those sort of like southern, more rock and roll sort of bands. Like we know a couple of them and love them. The next one is Demons Down, and the album is called I
Mm.
Stand,
Like that one.
which
Yeah.
I think has some great songs on it. I love the album. Then I have Edge of Forever and Ritual, which is the band of Alessandro Del Vecchio, who does an awful lot of different stuff. But that's really his own band. And I find Ritual to be the best album that they made so far. So that's a mention, worth a mention. Then I'm mentioning Mystic Prophecy, another German classic metal band, and the album was called Hell Riot, and that had a couple of real fuckers on it. And Lee and I were listening to that, real stompers, really in the best of the possible sense you can think of. Then I love the new album of Paul Shabu or Sabu, whatever you want to call it. It's called Banshee. Has a couple of really great songs on there. Backside of Water, I think you did. Lee, we loved it. Skin to Skin, Turn the Radio On, Rock the House are just fantastic hard rock songs. Love the album, and he didn't bring out albums for a lot of years, but this one, when it came out, it really blew me away as well. Then I'm a big fan of Chakra, so I have to mention Chakra, and the album called Invincible. And to my big surprise, they're already starting to release new songs. Invincible came out, I think, in March or something, or April, and they already brought out 2 new songs, so there might be another album, so which makes me happy. Then I'm going to mention Vandenberg and the album Sin, which I like. I've seen Adrian Vandenberg and the band just 2 weeks ago here in the city where I live. It has been a hell of a show. The last one which I'm going to mention, which I think you love too, Lee, is White Spirit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right or Wrong. What a fantastic album. And there's so much to tell about this album and the story of the album, the history of the songs, the singers that are on it, and all of that. So there's a huge backstory to that. I'm going to spare you that, but that whole album, White Spirit, Right or Wrong, is just a huge recommendation to finish my list off.
I'm glad you mentioned that one, mate. There's some brilliant songs on there. I mean, I won't go into the story either, but that is the album, because the tapes were from like the 80s, and then they got basically hidden in someone's garage or something, and then they found them, and then they re-recorded it all. They are some songs that literally, they give you nostalgia feels, like, for sure, man. I mean, you listen to some of that, you think, wow, that really does sound like a 1980s song. Amazing stuff. And to think they are original songs from that era. Amazing
it's
stuff.
a mix of Foreigner and Bad Company and so many bands you could think of, even Eagles you could think of. And they have Jeff Scott Soto and doing some of the vocals. So it's a fantastic album.
Yeah, totally agree there, mate. Thank you very much, as usual. Karen, what you got for us?
Right. I'm not going to rattle through all the titles, but I'll tell you which bands, and then I'll put the full list in the comments afterwards. So other favourite albums from this year were the 2023 releases by Soen, Riverside, Clone, Earthside, Bruce Sword, who's the frontman of the Pineapple Thief, his latest solo album, Mayfire, the Ocean Collective, Periphery, Silent Skies, and Einar Solberg, the frontman of Leprous, his first solo album, was one of my favourites from this year as well. I'll put the full list in the comments afterwards.
Thanks, Karen. And can I just ask, did I get you into Mayfire?
Yes. I didn't know. Yes. Yes. The first track that you did a review on your channel, and said that you said Bard from Leprous was playing on it, and that straight away pricked my ears up, and I tuned into that. That was fantastic. That's the first time I heard them. Yeah, that's a great album.
It is. And like I say, I'm really glad that I get all you guys, Mark was saying it as well. It's the first time they heard some of the stuff that I've been reacting to, which is very cool. And a lot of time that comes from people that have asked for the songs. So those people, I've got to thank those for getting me to do the reactions, and then you guys hearing them. But it's but you've even got me into some stuff this year as well, haven't you, Karen? Soen, Love that album.
Yes,
That
it's
Sohan
a
album's
great
great.
album.
And some of the
Yes.
Catatonia stuff as well. But it's nice to hear that I've given you a prog album.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really good. Yeah, thank you for that.
Guys, that's fantastic. Thank you very much for your listen. Obviously, everyone who's watching, we want to know your top albums below. I know that some people put them in the other video, but it'd be nice if anyone who's missed out to put them below as well, even if it's top 5. But it's really cool to hear all your lists. It's really, really cool. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to everyone, not just you guys, but
And
to
Lee,
everyone who's watching this video.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
and
See
Lee, I
you
think
soon.
we have to congratulate you. You've just passed 7,000 listeners, which is not nothing.
Yeah. Thanks. Cheers, Ralph. Yeah, that was
Great organic
thanks.
growth on your channel. So
Yeah.
congrats to that.
Yeah,
Another gift under the Christmas tree.
Yes. Thank you very much. I mean, well, it's getting there. It's getting there. It does go up. It's a bit weird. The more videos you put out, the more subscribers you get. But it's blooming hard work putting all those videos out. It's, you know, it takes a lot of your time up. It really does. I've got about another 10 to release after this morning. So, you know, but no, very cool. Thank you, Ralph. Yeah, 7,000. Thank you to everyone who keeps subscribing and asking for songs as well. So it's very cool. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining me. It's been excellent. As much fun as usual. I absolutely love it. And we're going to see each other in the new year for loads more stuff. I really want to have you guys on more because it's the most enjoyable thing I have on this channel. It is. I love talking to you guys. Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Cheers.
See you
Thank you
soon.
very much.
Holidays.
Cheers. Bye bye.